I'm not kidding. Electro has dubstep powers. I'm not joking. He can make freaking music. Really, movie? Now, the first thing you're possibly saying is that, why is this done in audio? Well, considering how I did the first Amazing Spider-Man in audio, I just thought that I would do the second one as well. Just a little continuity there. Well, instead of first going into the second one, I should probably say how much I thought about the first one, even though you can actually go check out the review yourself. Shortly put, I actually enjoyed the first one a lot. I enjoyed it as a better reboot film than the original Spider-Man, even though I consider Spider-Man 2 of the original series to be my favorite Spider-Man movie, and I haven't seen anything that topped that yet. I'm going to have to be honest, I think the reboot for the first Amazing Spider-Man was actually done or handled a little bit better in some regards to the original film. With that being said, I definitely enjoyed the acting of Andrew Garfield as the new Spider-Man, as well as Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy, who just do a fantastic job. When these two are on screen, you feel that the romance is there. You feel that they're actually in love. It's just something that seems like only these two can pull off. I was really amazed at that in the first movie and in the second one because it carries over. Spider-Man is both funny, charismatic, and just all-around awesome guy. He seems like the everyday guy who is just so happened to have powers. And he's pretty funny, even in the darkest of times. He seems to always crack a joke. And that's how Spider-Man should be. And for the most part, they portrayed him right. If anything, they actually portrayed him better in the second movie. With that being said, let's talk about The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, I would be lying if I say, oh, it's better than the original. Oh, heck, it's better than the second Spider-Man movie from the original trilogy. Or it's better than the first one, you know? I would be lying to you if I said that. Yeah, this isn't a bad movie. It's just more of a decent superhero movie. My biggest problem has to be that there's too much going on. Let me start from the beginning. Of course, we leave off from the first movie with Peter and Gwen Stacy seem to be still in a relationship as she figured out that her father, who was played by Dennis Leary at the time, and actually who still is, her father who wanted to keep them apart, assuming that anybody who is romantically or even involved with Spider-Man will come to a tragic end. And for the most part, I think that he's right. Oh, well, at least Peter Parker thinks so. So what he tries to do is stay away from Gwen as much as possible. But their love proves to be too strong and they still end up being together. Or breaking it off. It seems to switch from that. Anyway, there's a plot going on where Peter is seeing the ghost of Gwen's father, as well as Gwen breaking up with him and then getting back together with him, them trying to be friends and everything. So you have that story going on. Also, you have Norman Osborn, who was actually in the movie this time, instead of just being mentioned once in the first movie. And who dies? I'm not giving that away, people. I'm serious. It's like he has a 2 to 5 minute speech and he's dead. and not seen again in the movie, of course, because he's dead. Except for some video archives, which I'm not going to give any specifics on that because I'll be giving away the story. So Norman Osborn is there and he's dead, and he tells his son Harry that he actually has a gene that's passed down that makes their skin deteriorate over time. Basically, it's some type of skin disease that's causing them, I don't know, no specifics are really given. It's just something that's passed down that's going to kill him. And it automatically starts at his age range. Okay, so now you have that story going on with Harry trying to get a cure for this. In order to be cured, he needs Spider-Man's blood. But while that's going on as well, you also have Electro, who's played by Jamie Foxx, who is easily the character that actually could either be written out or could be just the main villain himself. And he's a scientist that works at OpsCorp, and he's not getting any attention from people, everything. People act like he doesn't exist. He's the invisible man, basically. He falls into a batch of electric eel tank and he's transformed into Electro. I'm not giving that away since that's actually in the trailers. Then you got Paul Giamatti, who's playing Rhino, who only appears twice for the movie. I'm not kidding. I freaking love this actor, and he is barely in the movie. He's in for like the first 5 minutes and then for the last 2 minutes. Or should I say the last 5 minutes? I swear. The time that they give him in the beginning of the movie is like the same time they give him at the end of the movie, and it's cut in half from there. So you have that going on. So you have Peter and the Gwen Stacy relationship, You have Harry Osborn's backstory going on and what he has to face as Oscorp. You have Oscorp, a dirty corporation who was actually making deals with terrorists. You have Max, this guy Electro that Jamie Foxx is playing. You have him and his backstory. You have Rhino as a complete side character that could have just been thrown out. He did not need to be there. It's just a time waster. Then you had Aunt May, whose backstory was, her current story, which wasn't that big of a thing, was her working at the hospital and she didn't want Peter to find out, even though she ends up telling him in a later scene. What? So that's 6 things going on already, guys. Okay, that's 6 things going on. And then you got the Green Goblin, who of course is played by Harry, and I swear, he gets turned into the Green Goblin about an hour and 43 minutes in. You want to know how long this movie is? 2 hours and 21 minutes. An hour and 43 minutes in, he starts transforming into the Green Goblin. I'm not going to tell you how. And then he doesn't even make an appearance to fight Spider-Man until like an hour and 50 minutes in, and the fight only lasts about 5 minutes. It's unbelievable. Why was this character here? Why was he thrown in at the last minute? I get such a big Spider-Man 3 feel from this movie. It's like I've watched multiple Spider-Man movies in one, and it's too much. For me, there's just too much plot going on. So what I can say about The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is that there's a good film under this that's trying to get out, but it can't because it's being piled on by multiple plot points. There's too much subplots and extra plots going on in this that it's overwhelming for the most part. There is way too much to focus on in this movie. I don't know whether they really wanted that or they was just trying to get a lot of stuff out, but there is just too much going on. And people can argue that, well, they have a big story to tell or they have a number of characters to go through. Why introduce all these characters? It seems like the movie's main focus isn't really much of a main focus. Oh, and you also have the backstory with Peter trying to figure out what happened to his parents. So that also continues from the first movie. So that's 8 things that's going on. 3 villains, 1 thrown to the curve, romantic story, hospital scene, parents' death. It's way too much. Why? Why is this going on? So besides that, the plot points, how is the acting? The acting in the movie is actually really good, overall from everybody. Even Jamie Foxx's character, who I thought was a little weak, actually, of course, it's played by Jamie Foxx, alright? So he's gonna be good. The guy who plays Harry Osborn does a good job as well, and of course Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone keep their chemistry from the first movie carried over, and these two are just, like I said earlier, just beautiful together. Aunt May, of course, played by Sally Field, is just wonderful as well, and even some of the Oscorp goons do pretty well. I want to like this movie more, but I feel like I just can't. And it's because that there's too much going on and there's too much to focus on. There isn't anything like the first movie where it was just one narrative. There was just this one villain who I complained that had split personality, like we've seen this before, but it was just one villain that I had to deal with. And one villain, one backstory, we got to know him a little bit more, who doesn't make an appearance in this movie at all, who had one goal, one purpose, and that's it. That is the way that it should be, unless you're doing something like the Avengers, and even then the Avengers didn't have this many plots that was going on. And they had multiple superheroes in it, and they were still going after just that one narrative. No, this one has 8 different things going on in its movie, and that's the biggest problem that's going to hold it back for me. If I had a chance to rate this, I would probably give it 2.5 out of 4. And that's only because there is a good superhero movie trying to get out, as the action sequences are beautiful, well choreographed and everything. The writing for this, as far as the jokes that happens and as far as the number of things that are going on, is actually pretty good. And you're invested for the most part in these backstories of these characters. It's just that there's multiple backstories going on, or there's multiple things going on in the current times. And I would say that this movie really didn't need that, because it was made longer just for the specific reason that you have all this stuff going on, and it doesn't need to be there. Green Goblin could have been cut out for, let's say, another movie, because we know they're not going to finish this. Like, this isn't the end. No. If Andrew Garfield does make another appearance as Spider-Man again, I would love for him to be in, you know, another Spider-Man movie. I think he's a great guy. I think he's doing a really good Spider-Man. And he's perfect for the role, for the most part. He definitely is, especially this one, where he's not in high school anymore. And there's this whole high school speech where I'm just like, you guys aren't in high school, okay? So get that over with. I would really look forward to that. Well, anyway, for the most part, I would say that the movie isn't bad, it's just cluttered. It's too cluttered. It does not have one path that it's going down, but it also isn't a bad movie at the same time. For what I've seen, there are scenes in here that I really enjoyed, that I even love actually, especially the action sequences. I can watch those all day. But then you get to the other stuff where it's just like, okay, you know, finish this story already, okay? Because there's plot points that they try to stop, especially the thing with the parents, and then bam, we go right back into it. But first we have to get this, what's going on with Harry. It's like, okay, movie, choose. Do you want to do the backstory for Harry? Do you want to do Electro? Do you want Peter Parker to try to find out about Oscorp and his parents? You know, that's fine, and I don't even think that's settled with Oscorp. It's not. There definitely has to be something more there to it, and I know there's going to be something more. But for what it is, it's not bad, and I would say if you like the first one, you're possibly going to like this one. I could have done without a lot of stuff, to be honest with you, and this movie could have been cut down to at least an hour and 35 minutes or an hour and 40 minutes tops. I have no problems with long movies, just when they're not necessary. Alright, so anyway, that's my view on the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I hope you guys enjoyed this little audio review, and if you have, by all means, I will see you in the next video, okay? Take care.